to gloss them off a little bit?
Go for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Damn, that does look delicious. I want to drink that.
Definitely, yeah.
I want to drink that. Pop it open.
Pop it open. Pop the top.
That's probably the crispest. Area.
Ooh, actually smells like what milk smells like rotten. I'm not kidding.
That's disgusting. All right, let's do the intro.
It smells like an IPA.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. Oh, is it really hopsy? That's disgusting.
All right.
Ready?
That means I probably like it.
Are we recording right now? Hi guys, welcome to Your Thoughts Podcast. I'm Jesse Martinez, and this is Tyler Beck. We are your host, and today we have our guest, Justin Killoran.
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 Close.
That
Killoran.
Years I have been saying Killoran. And
I've always known how to pronounce it.
Killoran.
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 We're gonna get started today with a beer crack. Oh, there it is. That's nice. And I don't usually drink beer or do the pots or whatever, but today's a special occasion because this is our first guest on the podcast that you guys will be hearing. We had one Aaron Foster, but we weren't ready for that. How you doing today, man?
Doing pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's a nice day outside.
It is.
It's not quite as
fucking
hot
gorgeous.
as it will be in the coming days here. So
Oh, I'm not
we're getting
fucking
there.
ready
We're getting
for
there.
it.
It's already getting really hot.
Ugh.
If you're living the poor, no AC life in your vehicles, I feel for you.
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
I am a member.
So just a heads up, about 28 minutes, we're going to take a little refresher, and then we'll get right back into it. Yes. Yeah, no, that's what I said.
It doesn't have to be mentioned in the podcast.
No, obviously we're going to edit it, but they're going to hear that, and they're going to go, 28 minutes into this video, they stepped out for a second, and then they came back, and they're not going to know.
We just paused the audio. And
Yeah.
then...
Well, now they're
So-
going to know.
Justin, it has been a very long time since we've actually had a conversation with you.
Well, that's unfortunate, but that's why I'm here. So.
Yeah, definitely. How have you been? Tell us about you. Tell us what's
Well,
going on.
I work at a little Indian warehouse. I throw rice around all day.
Wow, that's the first time we've heard that today.
I don't know. I enjoy my job for the most part, and I get paid. I save money. I bought a car, and I'm just kind of breathing, living.
That's good.
So it's not bad. Been with my girlfriend for almost 2 years.
Nice.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm incredibly involved in politics. So that's kind of a lose,
That's
win,
for better
win,
or
lose,
worse.
lose-ish
Is she,
kind of feel.
Is your girlfriend also incredibly into politics? Or is
She is as informed as I give her.
Oh, good.
So pretty much like she just kind of sucks in whatever I give her
Tyler-
and doesn't talk about it again.
It's kind of the same situation with my girlfriend and I.
Yeah. Well,
Although
Tyler-
she's interested.
Like my girlfriend will listen and she'll be like, anyway, my friends were assholes at work today. I'm like, God, I just want to talk about our crumbling infrastructure.
Can't we just talk about the government
Republican
toppling?
assholes?
I don't know. I don't. I try not to judge based on party lines. You got to talk to me for me to really get you.
That's good.
You can say you're a Republican, and I'll come at you from at least my point of view. But it really depends on what kind of Republican. These neoconservatives are what's
I'm gonna
wrong.
do something a little gay right now. Just get your hair, a little fluff.
I got a little fluff. Oh well, thank you, thank you.
So, if
That was
politics, it was right. If politics is what you want to talk about, then politics is what we shall talk about today.
Fair enough.
Amongst other things, we have an hour, and I don't think we're going to spend an entire hour talking about politics.
Even though I could.
We probably could.
Yeah.
I know I could.
So, what's going on in the political world, man? Talk
Well,
to us.
I'm no reporter or anybody else, but I try to keep myself mildly informed. I watch my own slew of podcasts and such just on my headphones at work, and pretty much everything's on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's what I've heard.
obviously Trump got elected, and he put in a bunch of people that were pretty much destined to destroy their own departments. So, like, the leader of the EPA is actually, like, against the EPA. The Betsy DeVos, I think she's a Secretary of Public Education or some shit.
Yeah.
She is against public education. So it's ironic that all of these people that he's put in are there to destroy their departments, and it's like, is this on purpose, or is he just stupid? So I guess that's one concern.
It's a dark irony.
Yeah, it's a dark irony for sure. But I guess we've got the Russia investigation. We've got multiple things going on that are kind of like hindering this presidency. Whether it's good or bad, but we don't really know. We've got a president who's basically undermining democracy by saying, we're going to fire Robert Mueller and all these other people that are investigating him, and doesn't really look good to fire the people that are investigating you at all. So it's pretty crazy.
Certainly puts
but
you into question.
Yeah, it's like, where are your morals based on everybody else's? It's just weird, and we're in a very weird state in politics. I've only obviously been following it for only a couple of years, as much as I've tried to be informed, but the time that I've been here blows ass. So it's it's like well, this is it's hard to deal with because you want things to change and they're not changing fast enough.
So then my question is, everything's on fire. I think we
established.
Yeah, that's very established, and I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
No,
I'm sure there are people who disagree.
According to polls, which we know how those go, 30% of the country thinks that everything's okay.
That's just the people who are looking the other way. It doesn't affect me immediately.
The Fox News.
Out of 300 million people, 30% is a pretty large percentage of the population.
Well, but also you got to take into account children.
Yeah,
all that other stuff. People who aren't politically informed, and that's 30% of like voters. So that's even a smaller margin considering we have one of the lowest voter turnouts of any developed nation on the planet, which is an unfortunate statement in and of itself. But
is it like under 50% of the population voted?
I actually don't know, but it's somewhere around there. I know that it was really bad,
really low.
I did not, and I regret it to this day.
You didn't vote at all?
I did not vote. I didn't even register to vote. I'm still not registered.
My girlfriend didn't either.
No.
Really?
Well,
did she not vote based on like her political beliefs, or?
She moved here from Idaho, so she didn't register in time. And
okay. Well, that's not really her fault.
She could have definitely registered though. I definitely told her to register.
Before this, when Obama was president, he was campaigning against it was McCain, right?
Yeah.
Well, essentially, he was campaigning against Hillary for the primary, and then McCain for the general.
Yeah.
I didn't care because nothing was that bad at the time.
I was young. I was 13, 12,
right,
and I didn't give a shit. I was reading Harry Potter. I was more concerned about the Deathly Hallows the book coming out.
I was so
I wanted
not
Obama
interested.
to win.
I mean, yeah, I voted for Obama in the
I was at your house when
hey,
Obama won. I was sleeping on your floor. Also, we had just got, I don't know why I remember this, we had just got done watching like 50 episodes of King of the Hill.
Great show.
Oh, wonderful. And then the election came on, and I just remember he had small little TV, and Obama won. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I went to bed. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I really didn't care. And now, but everything was fine. I mean, sure, people think that Obama was a terrible president. Some people think he was a wonderful president.
We got pulled out of the housing market crash. Our economy bounced back. Literally, here's an example.
But the housing market crash was, in essence, caused by Bill Clinton. So it was the left that caused it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more like the right caused it, and then the left didn't do anything to stop it.
Well, yeah. But here's a prime example of just how bounced back, I guess you could say, our housing market is. We bought our house on a short sale from people who were getting foreclosed on, and there's holes in the walls. We bought it for super cheap. We have like $90,000 to $100,000 of equity in the house, meaning that our house is almost doubled in amount. So the housing market's fantastic because we have just $100,000 just sitting around waiting to be, collected upon and then getting another house. So, we can't say that everything's still shitty because that right there is like a literal monetary bounce back just based from 2009 on is when we got our house. So, you can't say that things have gotten worse, maybe socially, but that's not exactly the president's fault. And no matter what president it is, whether you're talking about Ronald fucking Reagan or anyone else, it's not the president's fault about what's going on socially. It's more just the social aspect of things that kind of impact the president's performance.
The way that I see politics in general and the government and everything is that I believe this. I don't think either of you are going to believe this, but whatever happens with the government and the way that the government was originally supposed to be established, it was for the people.
Of course.
Everything going on is our fault.
Essentially.
As Americans. We are not doing anything. When they're pulling the wool over our eyes, lying to us, we're just like, nothing's going to happen.
Literally sleeping.
We don't care. And that,
wakeful sleep.
It's upsetting because I am guilty of that. I've heard so many shitty things, and the best thing that I can do or know to do is re-share it on Facebook.
Which isn't even really that safe anymore because they collected 87 million people's public profiles and spread them to various political areas and to collect our information. So now even sharing, a left-leaning or right-leaning or center, meme on Facebook is opening the doors to someone like registering you and saying, oh, he's a left-wing, let's send him a bunch of right-wing propaganda or the opposite because they want to collect your data. And we're in the age of data analysis and collection where they want to know everything.
Or potentially removing you from the voting rolls, which they did to people who were going to vote for within the Democratic primary in 2016.
Yeah.
They removed people in Arizona. They removed people in New York, and they did the same thing in the 2000 election with Bush and Al Gore. They removed people from the voter rolls in Florida.
Yeah, which, and the hanging chads didn't help either. So it's like, we're at a weird place, and I'm not sure where we go forward except in just constant activism, and just being out there. You gotta really hit the doors, and you gotta hit the streets and be like, yo, like, we're pissed. Like, what else are we gonna do? Like, that's all you can really do. And it's like, I want to do more.
Another issue with the activism, though, is people are getting involved, but they're focusing on the wrong issues.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, women's rights is a good thing, but what about the bombs? What about
there are other things to be focusing on.
I think we should be more concerned about human life instead of women's suffrage.
I don't think...
But that's personal opinion.
We're not taking care of problem number one. We're cherry-picking what we should be.
The military-industrial complex
What is problem number one? Tyler.
That's fair.
What's problem number one?
For me, personally, my issue that I like to focus on is the mass spending that we're doing with the military-industrial complex. We like to look at military generals in very, very high light. We like to claim American exceptionalism as we are the best country in the world. We saved the world from the Nazis and communism, and we have bases like in 80% of the planet.
We're the only country that does.
Yeah, Russia does not even do that. Russia's defense spending is like a third, maybe a fourth of what we spend.
And they're the number one person that we're trying to.
China doesn't spend as much. Russia doesn't spend as much.
Well, the issue with China is that every single one of their billion people that lives there can just all of a sudden grab a gun and come after us. That's the only reason we were even able to firebomb Tokyo and bomb places like in Japan during World War II is because they went on the radio and was like, "Yo, pick up a gun," and all of a sudden we're like, "Fuck, the whole country's against us now." So we just start bombing everywhere, which we've been doing for 50 years. So what's new?
But guns are illegal in Japan now.
I personally...
And a lot of Europe as well.
I personally don't believe in super heavy gun regulation in the United States because it just straight up wouldn't work. Like, you have all these crazy hicks that are going to just freak out and start a civil war. Like, you got to do it in a way that makes sense. I think it
definitely would cause a civil war.
Common sense gun regulation, totally fine. Like, for instance, Bernie Sanders, someone who I looked up to during the 2016 election, he actually allowed people to carry their rifles on... on public transport. Like, he signed that bill and made it into law because originally you weren't allowed to carry a gun on public transport. Makes sense. You don't want to go shoot up someone on a school bus or on a rail system.
Just kids, period.
Kids, period.
Doesn't matter where they're at.
Doesn't matter where they're at. But no, on a public rail system, say, hey, no guns. But then they're like, wait, this is a rural place here in Vermont. It makes sense because if you want to get from somewhere and you got to go get your tags for your deer or whatever, like maybe you need to use public transport. So he made it legal to carry your big old hunting rifle on the bus or on the the rail or whatever. Which is all right. That's pretty mid ground. I can't really knock him for that. Like that's not left. That's not right. That's just there's a need that people want. People are like, hey, I have an issue getting my rifle from point A to point B. We're in an incredibly rural area. He's like, sure. And I think that if we did that type of regulation and understanding with everybody, then we wouldn't have nearly as many gun deaths in the United States, which I'm pretty sure we're like number one in most developed nations. Maybe Honduras beats us. Ooh, yeah. If we're being compared to Honduras and like these third world countries and gun deaths, then there's an issue. So yeah. I don't know. Like I feel like there's a lot more things that we could do to be able to be bettering the system. But number one is get active. Get out there. Become activists.
The thing that I say though, that I feel is that why we're not tackling the issues that we as Americans, as not high up in our parties and everything. I just lost my train of thought. I am so tired.
Here, I'll try to bring you around. What's your number one issue? What's issue number one for you?
Personally, my number one issue is that I am deadly terrified that we are destroying the planet. That's.
Me and you agree on that. I think the environmental thing is number one for me because essentially, my grandkids should be able to go to Yellowstone National Park and not have the place. I mean, it kind of is a barren wasteland, but not have the place be uninhabitable, full of nuclear waste and all this other bullshit. They should be able to see the Sequoia National Forest and come here to Arizona and see trees and and see everything else that nature has to offer us. And the United States is still pretty open. Like in terms of most countries, we still have a lot of open, free-range land that hasn't been tapped into by oil companies, but it will.
Trump is definitely trying to sell some of it.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Teddy Roosevelt, my personal favorite U.S. president of all time, literally established the national park system, and he would be rolling in his grave, beating the shit out of Trump with a stick if he found out that he was trying to dismantle the public park system and sell public lands. That's our land. It's literally in a song, this land is your land, this land is our land, and now we're selling that land to oil companies for profit. That's bullshit. We're supposed to be cherishing our national,
Well, not only oil companies, land development companies as well.
Oh, yeah, apartments, houses.
Yeah.
All that's being used for fucking just destroying it.
I don't think we need to build more houses.
Well, our population's increasing, so to a large group of financial people, it's like, well, hey, there's this whole dirt lot that hasn't been used, but people playing. Let's just turn it into an apartment complex and make
There's also tons of vacant houses within this country.
Yeah, there's more vacant houses than there is homeless.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not something that we're marching for.
Oh no, which is weird, right?
It's
Like
odd.
no,
Yeah.
I mean.
A lot of people are uneducated on what actually matters. They're only educated on the ideological elements of whatever their movement is currently, like the women's rights, like
The gun issue,
like whatever the most polarized issues and the least important are what people actually care about.
Yeah, like for
The
instance,
most emotionally charged issues.
it's whatever's relevant at the time. Like Parkland happened, all of a sudden, bam, we're back to guns.
Right.
And like actually, I give those kids some credit. They went out there and said, "Look, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done seeing my buddy from 4th Hour get blown away by some dude with an AR-15. I'm sick of it." And like, while I disagree with them on how it should be done, I appreciate them for going out and trying to change something, being that they're like 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
Right.
I'm only 21. I haven't done anything like
Exactly.
that. Good for them.
I've never fucking led a march
To
or
not-
like gotten up in front of thousands of people and just
said, "Look,
spoke."
end this.
Yeah.
To have never led a movement in something that I truly believe in at 22 years old and thinking to myself every day, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to put myself in a situation where I could, but I don't see myself like planning that. It's never happened. These kids are 16 years old. When I was 16 years old, I was an idiot. I didn't care about anything.
I know.
And most people my age when I was 16 were also idiots. We didn't care.
No.
But I don't agree with how they're handling it. But you're right. They're doing something.
You know,
They give a shit.
Now, if they were marching, for some crazy right-wing shit that I didn't agree with, like, good on you still. I disagree with you heavily, but you are doing the best that you can in what you believe in to try to change something, whether for bad or for worse, in my opinion. If you want to get up in front of a stand and say, you know what, I want all Muslims to be gone, while I disagree with you, like, you can, in America, you can speak. And our First Amendment rights is the number one issue.
It is, but when you induce fear into
of course,
everybody...
which I believe is wrong.
Well, but yeah, it is. It's absolutely wrong. But when you do it, it clouds the judgment. It clouds the mind, and then you're acting out of fear, and you're talking out of fear, and you make decisions out of fear. And so that's what these kids did. They were scared. They saw 17 of their classmates get mowed down. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
So then what's the first thing that pops into their head?
End it.
If,
Ban the guns.
If no one had guns, we wouldn't have guns.
Yeah.
Right. That makes a lot of sense, just like anarchy makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In the thought process, yes, if no one had a gun... I mean, we'd be fist fighting each other. There'd be a lot of stabbings.
Mass stabbings, which is happening in Britain right now.
Oh, yeah.
There's like,
That's
it was
amazing.
like 32 people were like stabbed and killed. It's like, I guess we can't stop psychos from killing people.
Exactly.
So it doesn't really matter what they have.
It's like taking drugs, making them illegal. There's still the black market. There's still ways
of course,
to
like,
find
and
them.
especially like on another tangent here, marijuana prohibition is insane. It doesn't make any sense, and it's been a for-profit market since the 70s. It's for a long ass time. They've been, as soon as the DARE program and all of these programs that basically taught you how to inhale PCPs. Like, I didn't know what the fuck. I'm like 11 years old, starry-eyed, sitting in a classroom, and all of a sudden, like, today, oh hey, we're having the DARE program come in and talk to us. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And it's this cop, and he's like, well, what you do is you take a can of aerosol spray and you huff it, and you're high now.
Really?
Like,
really?
Yeah. Wait, really?
That's amazing.
Woo! Yeah.
You mind if I try that? Whoa, he's right.
Whoa, he's right.
Awesome.
Hey, fuck you. Fuck the police. Yeah, so
I knew kids who were doing that.
That didn't work. Doing whippets fucking, all this other shit.
I know a lady who died from doing whippets.
What a retard.
Right. Well, she didn't. I don't think whippets can kill you physically, just like taking a whippet.
Well, if you make yourself unconscious, you do have the potential to die.
Well, yes, this is what happened.
You're not inhaling air.
And then she did a whippet, and then she drowned in the hot tub because she passed out. And
Moron.
Yeah. My mom knew her. She was in rehab with my mom.
Oh.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah, no, I would have never looked at model airplane glue and got like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get high off this thing. You guys want to score some Hobby Lobby airplane glue? Dude. No. Okay. Dude. No, I never would have done that in my life.
That's commitment, though. When you need to get high so bad that
you need to go to a religious establishment, like a religious business that doesn't, even help women. Yeah. You're to get their airplane glue and huff it, like, congratulations, dude. You're the peak of human existence.
The amount of people that are in prison for drug-related offenses is the most ever in history.
Why did we never make a prison specifically for people who have drug-related offenses? Because we're putting people in maximum security prison.
Why do they need to be in prison?
Right, they don't need to be in prison. We should legalize drugs across the board and then educate people on why not to take them, the health risks of taking them, what we can do to prevent people from becoming addicted to them, and the medical benefits of drugs. And don't use the term drugs, because drugs is just a blanket term for
everything.
Chemicals that you put in your system. You use caffeine, you use marijuana, you use fucking soda, like whatever. These are all just chemical substances, and we just put a bunch within this category of drugs and say, don't do these ones, but you can do these ones.
You're absolutely right, but my point was, since that's not the case, and for a very long time, at the very least, it's not going to be the case because the government is making tons of money off of this anti-drug garbage, right?
And the prison industry
is
it's
an
actual industry. There are people who own these complexes that are holding people. It's a private industry.
They would still make
stocks.
Money building. They have maximum security prisons, minimum security prisons, right? And they're putting people who are trying to, I don't know, get heroin across the Mexican border. They're putting them in maximum security prisons. Well, sure, but you're also putting them in somebody who murdered 14 people yesterday, and he's psycho, and he just loves raping people.
Or even worse, just your average, weed guy.
Right.
Hey, dog, how's it going? Pretty good. I'm trying to pay bills, and now he's in jail, sitting and rotting next to some dude who raped some kid.
30 years.
But the guy who raped some kid is out of jail before him.
Why did they never? Because the prison system is garbage, but why did they never make a specific prison for specific judge rulings and stuff like that? Like a prison specifically designed for people who did.
They do, isn't it probation? You get probation
but probation is across the board. You can get probation if you did even a federal crime, I'm pretty sure. But the probation is like basically like, hey, maybe you can reintroduce yourself to society at some point if you want, dog. You want to like not screw up in prison.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the prison system's whack. The whole cash crop drug thing is whack. And it's not going to change unless we go out and do something about it, like taking down all of these corporate CEOs that are in charge of these big pharma companies that are making literally billions of dollars.
It's even more complex than that, because in the 80s, I believe it was the 80s, when we were going into South America, when the CIA was doing things in South America, we were essentially just ramping it up. Like, we were creating conflict and then allowing these drugs to circulate back into the country. So whatever is happening now is a result of then, and I don't think we've learned from it.
No, not at all.
I don't think people even know about it.
Well, history repeats itself.
It always does.
Perfect
example. It doesn't repeat itself, it just rhymes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a quote from Mark Twain.
I like that. Mark,
Jesus. An example I always use, which I think most people know, Napoleon invaded Russia, and without winter gear, went in, got wrecked.
Yeah.
Hitler did the same thing, and didn't learn from Napoleon, who was like literally like a pretty decent dude.
The Russians don't fuck around, and also they know their environment.
Yeah, they know that they have so much land to be able to give up that they're just gonna starve the German troops. They
destroyed everything as they were retreating. They destroyed all of their crops, took all of the people that lived there with them, and destroyed all of the food sources. It was crazy reading about that.
Imagine being like a Nazi, like, we're gonna go fuck up Russia, and then all of a sudden you're just like, you're like
freezing,
eating like
no food.
Frozen bread that's been in your pocket for like a year. That's awful. So
eating your own men.
Eating your own, hey, Yuri's, Hans is dead today. We're eating his legs.
We have to.
We're
gonna die.
We're gonna die if
Hans.
we don't eat Hans. Hans, gone. But we don't have to be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's a... And I guess the only thing to do is to talk about action.
Well, then what is the action? Because there's a fine line. Here's what I mean. You want to take action on something, some people believe peaceful protest is the way to go.
Yeah.
And it can be, absolutely. Yeah. Then there's extremists who believe that the only way to solve any problem is genuine murder. To murder everybody.
And destruction of the system.
Exactly, and destruction of the system. Complete chaos. And then those are two fine lines. So there are two extremes right there. Where's the middle, and which one of them works?
I think it has to be somewhere around, like, we go out, we march, we get the statistics and the numbers.
Fact-based information and education and the numbers.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
All the here's a perfect example. All the Trump inauguration numbers, right? Huge. We had the biggest inauguration.
There's satellite photos of how many people.
There's like literally satellite photos of like a third of the place being full, and like Obama's was like overflowing. So like, do I really care how many people were at Trump or Obama's inauguration? I don't give a shit. But when Trump's like biggest thing ever, fantastic, huge, I'm gonna argue that. I'm gonna be like, no, dude, it wasn't the biggest, nor was the most fantastic, and everyone there looked depressed. So, you're wrong. And you're continuing to be wrong. You've told the most lies of any president ever.
And our society has become really... we don't call it out anymore. We don't call out the lies. And if we do, then whoever's calling out the lies is assisting in whatever other side because of the polarization. So if I'm on the left and I'm calling out...
Hello, please, there's so many lies going on. And the mainstream media is like, no lies, no. Anyway, here's a puppy. It's
distractions,
awful.
man.
Oh yeah, like
we start getting on track. We start going, something's fishy, and then Ebola happens, or some shit like that, and then it's just like, whoa, that's crazy. What were we talking about? Like that's the whole idea.
Or like the sex scandal of Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton's term when Bill Clinton's administration was, I think they were bombing someplace in the Middle East.
Ooh, what's new?
Yeah. But nobody knew about it because this whole scandal was going on.
Blowjobs in the
Blowjobs in the White House. No. Yeah.
No.
I don't pay money to get my dick sucked in the Oval Office.
I mean, honestly, I'd love to see that porn.
Yeah, really.
Where's the video? I want to see Bill Clinton getting his knob rocked by Monica Lewinsky. I don't see why not.
As well.
I think that's an American right.
I agree.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in a couple minutes.
You don't have to announce it.
That was a good way to end that. I want to see Bill Clinton getting his knob rocked in the football.
We have another about a half to do, but we got to charge this battery because we got to... Ready? You ready? Welcome back. I don't know what we're going to do with that. Yeah, short little thing. We just had to charge the batteries for you guys to see us because we're good-looking men.
I sure try.
Two of us.
Now that we're men.
So we're going to change topic because as much as we could all talk politics for like 37 years straight,
It's all talk.
It's all talk, man.
It's all talk.
That's all it is. So we're going to talk. I think we're gonna talk about religion just a tad bit because we haven't seen this guy over here in a pretty long time. So we just want to get to know him, the new him, the him that we don't quite know yet.
Let's get some background actually because we haven't done that. We've known Justin. I've known you since I've seen you in elementary school and I knew you in junior high.
Which elementary school did you go to?
You went to Brinton, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope. I went to Salk and I went to Fry and Bologna.
That's too many.
So then I saw you in junior high then.
Yeah, you saw me at Smith.
Yeah.
I also saw you at Smith.
Fair enough.
And I just would look at you and I'd go, that piece of human garbage. Just fuck that guy.
Wow.
And it's different now. It's different now because in high school we were all different. I used to wear
really
flat-billed hats and people would call me Kermit and I was just a douchebag and I'd do anything. It was awful. I was an awful person in high school and you were an awful person and Tyler was an awful person. It's changed now. We all kind of grew up and now we have a podcast. Which is the most adult thing you can do in the world is have a podcast.
Well, I guess adult's kind of a loose term. More like the most progressive thing you can do. It's because like
in the
who else wants to sit here
intellectual
and,
age.
Yeah, intellectuals.
What is the age we're talking about? There was
The
a Bronze
digital age?
It's technically where we are essentially.
Yeah.
Digital age. Where
Digital
everything's on the phone.
age. What's next, right?
Virtual reality
The
age.
nuclear
The VR
holocaust.
The nuclear holocaust
There you
age.
go. That's a
Where we got arms coming out our foreheads.
Everybody's got
I
like
could
really
use a third
large
arm, man.
foreheads.
I really could. Yeah.
I have a third arm.
That's nice. Is it your penis?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's our background story. Sorry, we're kind of drinking beers.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of missed you. As much as I thought you were a dick, I was like, I wonder what he's doing. Because I see you on Facebook and I see you on
I
Snapchat
try to be out
sometimes,
there
and
as much as possible.
I'm just like, wow, you know, he grew his hair out, I got a cool mustache and beard. You used to wear
Thank you.
fedoras and, like, be a jerk, you know?
Yeah, that was a little
It's
bit
a
out
weird
there.
phase, you know, but we all went through them, and I'm
I
glad
don't
you
have
did
any
it.
fedoras.
That's good.
Those are
Get
gone.
rid of them.
I do see kids with fedoras occasionally walking around Ross. I'm like, I want to just hug them and be like, it's gonna be okay. Please take that off.
You're gonna be fine, right?
No more Mountain Dew.
That's right.
I still have my fedoras. I can't wear them.
Are you like allergic to drinking out of bottles?
Huh?
Are you like allergic to drinking out of bottles?
I think it's because we've
I
shared
wanna
that
share
water.
it.
Oh, for sure.
Unless you don't want water.
Shut up, man. All I drink is placenta.
I'm drinking out of your cup, so I'm not opposed
It's
to.
the most nutritional thing in the world. Did
Some
you know
women eat
that?
their placentas.
Yeah, because it's very nutritional.
They're like,
It's really good for you.
Stem cells, man.
It's mad
Stem
gross.
cells.
It's mad
Stem
gross.
cells.
So
okay.
I guess a little bit about me. I grew up in a not very religious household. My dad was kind of Catholic, but he ended up like doing a crazy amount of drugs and kind of falling off the face of the planet. So he wasn't really a real Catholic.
So are your parents atheists, or are they just kind of like...
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay, cool.
My like I said, my biological father was a Catholic, and then he kind of like fell from grace. All of his sisters hate him, and then he ended up doing drugs and frying his brain, whatever. But my mom has been like, I guess you could say she's a Christian,
Sure.
But she's not like insane. Like she wants to
Yeah.
go to church occasionally now. Like she likes going to church once in a while. She like drags us on Easter Sunday and Christmas occasionally. She has obviously like the basic like Christian morals, which like you can't even argue. Like, hey, don't fuck your neighbor's wife. Don't kill somebody. Don't be a douchebag.
See,
Don't
Like,
lie,
those are
don't
pretty-
cheat, don't steal.
Don't be an asshole. This is pretty much Christianity basics in a nutshell, which is, you know, hey, you know what? I can agree with that. But my mom didn't really indoctrinate me at all and didn't make me do anything. She didn't tell me what to do, tell me what to think, which I'm really glad because I could be some,
for me, that's good parenting. You know,
yeah, it's good
them-
parenting. Let your kid find out for himself.
Right.
You know, give him the basics. Be like, hey, here's God. If you like him, then go for it. But
Yeah.
if you want to do your own thing, then you are your own human being, and I cannot influence you more than, hey, here's something.
That is the true.
True.
See, as an atheist having a child now, I want, you know, I feel like I'm right. Everybody feels
Of course,
like they're
everyone
right.
feels like they're
If you wouldn't feel like you're right if you didn't have a religion or if you weren't an atheist, you feel you're right. I feel I'm right, and I want my kid to feel that way too. So even if he doesn't feel that I'm right, if he becomes a Mormon, you know, or something like that, like the worst of them all, I'm gonna be like, I don't agree with that, but he's gonna be his own person, and that's the way that you should raise your children.
Yeah.
The last podcast we had, me and Tyler kind of touched on religion a little bit, and I don't want to keep repeating ourselves on these podcasts, you know. So I'll kind of strike back just a tad, so that I'm not constantly going over the same points over and over again. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel you should raise your children. Let them decide for themselves. And so whatever. But continue, please.
Personally, and like I said, my mom. So we're not very religious. You know, we're not crazy about it. You know, I still have like a steel case Bible. I have a kid's Bible. I haven't read. Honestly, I've been thinking about actually rereading the legit Bible recently here, just because.
Just a plane flying overhead.
No, I saw smoke.
9/11.
Oh, jeez.
No.
9/11.
Again?
Not again. Woo! No. Sorry. Anyway, but so yeah. I've been thinking about rereading the legit Bible because I've heard it's a trip. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard it's some insane shit, and, like, I obviously was too young to really understand it when I was young, and I've actually never actually, like, read it cover to cover. So I was thinking about doing that just for context, just to see where all these crazy nut fucking Alex Jones religious people are coming from.
Alex Jones
Well,
religious?
they're not coming from their Bible. Let's make this clear. The Bible is a fucked up thing.
Oh, yeah, it's
the
so fucked up.
things that we were
There's, like,
okay
rape in
with
the Bible.
back in the day. There's more than that.
Oh,
There's like unjust murders that people were like, it's totally cool. God was like, all right with it. He came up with the law. We get to murder.
Don't kill
that
people,
person.
but
But you can do it
Kill
in
that
this, exactly.
Get stoned.
Your wife cheated on you. Take him to her dad's house. Stone her in front of him. It's fine. That's what you get to do.
And he gives you sheep, and it works.
Right. And so they don't take that out of the Bible. They take the good things that come from it, right? And then.
So why should they take it out?
That's what I'm saying. That's always been my thing. Is there's New Testaments and Old Testaments. There should not be that. That's an example.
Because essentially Jesus died to forgive all the bullshit that happened beforehand.
Hold on, I do see smoke. Bring it back. Keep going.
Yeah.
Was it someone's cigarette?
Probably. It didn't put out properly or something. He's got a whole ashtray out there. But anyway, yeah. So my whole thing has always been, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
The proof for me is the fact that it changed. It should not have changed. The original Bible should have been the Bible the whole time.
See, but the thing is that you had to change languages because originally it was in Latin, and then
Correct.
you had all these. Actually, originally it was in Hebrew, translated to Latin, translated to English. Going through multiple different countries, different sects of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
The King James Bible being the one that most people read now, which is totally chopped up and served in this weird platter that.
Right, and I'm sure originally there was a lot of translation issues with what things meant, and then putting them in English, we see something different where it could have been no, just don't share a blanket with another dude because they're hot, because they're.
Yeah, you have no idea. And now we're don't lay with another man, and they're the gays are bad, So it
just give off more body heat than women. It's uncomfortable, really.
It's honestly more of a preservation issue. You don't want to sweat too much. So
right.
The females are a little cooler.
They're a little cooler, and they think you're hot, but they'll accept it because they're not gay.
Because the whole protrusion.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so it was kind of a shame to me just because of that, because the fuck up things that were in there, they're in there.
Oh yeah.
They do the studies and everything, and I haven't been to church in a really long time, but what I do remember is they never ever said anything about those horrible things that ever happened. They were just kind of oh, this is good. No, not that. Let's skip over that. Oh, we'll talk about this because it says good things. It says, believe in God, good things can happen for you, and that's pretty much it. But the people back in the day who were believing in God, terrible things were happening to them.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible things. So why now? Why change now? Society has changed, so they felt like the religion should change. But that's not how religion should work. It should be the same throughout.
I kind of disagree with you there. I think religion should evolve with the times. Essentially, we shouldn't be stoning people to death anymore.
We should have done it in the first place.
Yeah. True.
And Christians aren't really
what?
Stoning people anymore.
Oh, fair. But we shouldn't really be stoning people anymore. So we don't stone people.
Right.
So it can totally change with the times. It's been fucking 2,000 years. Something should have changed, and luckily it has. But now, instead of adhering to a strict prophet and a strict set of rules and guidelines, now you have people editing it and cherry picking, and although you can't wear mixed fabrics and you can't do all this other bullshit, you can't eat shrimp or any of that. But that's never mind, dude. I really like my my Red Lobster free flow shrimp.
I like being a human being.
I like being able to do whatever. So I'm gonna do these things that the Bible says not to do because it isn't convenient.
How can we call ourselves a free state? We're primarily Christian or branches of that Catholic and Mormon and things like that. They all derive from the same.
You have all the Republicans saying we're a Christian nation.
Right. How can you say that we're a free state when every Christian in all of the United States and in the entire world are free only to what the Bible says, or only to what the religion or the government says? That's not freedom.
Yeah, no.
The freedom is to have the choice to murder someone without consequence, but knowing morally that you just shouldn't do that. That's freedom. You get the choice to choose, and we just hope that your moral standards say, I shouldn't really do that. He didn't do anything wrong. He doesn't deserve to die. We don't have that, though, because we don't want to be animals. We don't want to be mixed in with that thing, Well, yeah. That's why we have the laws, the regulations, and everything.
Because we are animals.
Right, but we don't want to admit that.
We don't want to admit
There's a denial of that.
There's definitely, there's hella denial of that.
We've surpassed animals.
We're honestly, total assholes. The things that are going on, and okay, a gazelle gets totally wrecked by a fucking lion. That's nature, right? But then you have some dude walking to a school and ganking people. that's a little bit more intense than...
It is intense, because we feel
we have
emotions,
the ability to choose not to do it.
and we also have emotions. See, animals don't have emotions. I'm sure when a tiger, or when a gazelle sees their family gazelle get mowed down,
oh, shit.
They're not coming back going, oh, let's sue this tiger, you know? They go on with their lives. It's sad.
If you
that's
fuck
your
with
child.
a tiger, it's going to get angry at you and eat you.
Right.
You run. You can run faster than they can. Just go.
Just go, man. It's done. The deed is done. He's bitten, zombie.
Jeff, dead. Move on. The herd is more important.
But it's different because they may have emotions. Maybe. I'm not a scientist.
I'm sure they have some sort of like, that was my kin.
But
like, elephants have emotions.
Right. We have deeper emotions that we can understand. Animals, they don't understand their emotions. They just have them, and they don't put words to the emotion.
We have the ability to verbalize what we are thinking, and we're conscious of our existence.
That's
and
what
that's
differs
something
us.
that animals do not.
And as far as we know, the most intelligent animal next to us is the blue whale, which actually has a...
potentially dolphins as well.
Potentially dolphins, but the blue whale especially, because it has such a deeper set of communication standards.
Does.
Like, they can, like, we can talk to each other and, like, convey emotions, but it's super, like, chopped and rough.
They have a language that we can't decipher.
Have this language that we cannot understand. Like, they can, like, transmit emotions for thousands of miles across and be able, like, hey, dude, I'm kind of pissed. Like, imagine, like, you're swimming along and all of a sudden, like, today really sucked, and you're like, aw, dude. I'm sorry. Like, that's nuts. We can't do that. You know, radio's cool, but we can't do that. So, kind of
sonic wave.
See, because
communication.
If you're talking about the whales and their emotions, it's to the point.
Yeah.
They give a certain frequency, and the whale goes, oh, I know exactly what you're feeling, dude. It's totally okay. Here's how it works for me. Man, Justin, I'm fucking sad. Now, in your brain, you're going,
why?
But is he really sad, though? Why are you sad? Let's talk about this for 40 hours until I know for sure that you're sad, and then maybe I'll help you with it. Maybe I'll, you know.
But in reality, it's like, oh, man, that really sucks anyway. So, like, dude, my wife's been up my ass lately, and you're just thinking...
It's more complex than that, though, because we lie to ourselves as well.
Right.
I'm not actually sad. I'm creating myself a scenario that makes me sad, but it's a lie. It's self-perceived, and it's not even true.
Where you pretend that your relationship is going perfectly peachy because you've been doing decent lately.
Or the opposite, when it is
Or the
peachy.
opposite, or it's going really, really shitty, and you're like, everything's really fine. It's not, dude. Like,
we have the ability to lie to ourselves emotionally and psychologically.
That's something that animals cannot do.
No.
The animal, you can't lie. You can't.
They don't have the time to do that.
No.
They're just like, I need food. Like, that's their only... Their
sleep,
goal.
play, food, sleep, play.
That's it.
Sex.
And it's simple. And if we could live that way...
I wish we could live that way.
Well, we can't because we're too emotional.
Yeah.
We care too much. If I see my mother get eaten by another human being, or like a subhuman being, like an ape or something like that, I'm going to be like, that's crazy, I'll never forgive that ape, like I'm going to die now. Yeah.
Cannibalism is pretty off the table across the board.
Yes, it is. But you understand the point I'm trying to make, is that we're too emotional to be animals. So what was the next step? Well, we separate ourselves from them, because obviously we have a lot of different things about us.
By caging them and putting them for human viewing,
right.
And saying,
so,
hey, this thing that shares like 98% of your DNA, oh, it's just you pay $20 and you get to see it like eat shit or throw a banana or whatever in the zoo, and we totally separate it. Like orangutans, like chimpanzees, are us straight up. Like,
there's debates about that, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But there are debates.
Of course, there are debates on that. Creationism's a myth. Whoever believes that's retarded. But we didn't just sprout out of the ground like weeds. Okay, like there was obviously an evolutionary process. There's science-based facts to show. Like, for instance, polar bears are slowly getting more webbed feet. It's been shown of the
right, because we're melting the ice caps. They have to swim.
So they're literally having to swim.
Sea bears.
Sea bears.
No. So like, evolution's a fact. You know, you can't really debate the fact that
we can actually manipulate it as well. So.
Well, we are.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
All the time.
So we didn't just, plus, like, you know how much incest there would be
if it was just much.
Adam and Eve. Like, maybe that's why we're retarded.
Right.
Like, maybe we all came from two people, and
we would be if that was the truth and Adam and Eve existed in some way, shape, or form, you'd be related to me, and if we had sex, gay or not,
incest.
I would be
it'd be like
in
mild,
some way, shape, or form fucking a family
mild
member.
incest. Yeah, which is.
I don't think it's that impossible for it to have happened historically, because we have had so many die-offs. We have had a lot of die-offs.
Black plague. Straight up killed like all of Europe.
Almost.
There were volcanoes that erupted when the population
Pompeii.
was pretty small, and that wiped out, like, when we were still probably in Africa or Europe, like, around that area, volcanoes wiped out, like, a ton of human
So you're saying that it's not entirely... It's plausible that, yes, we came from an
some
original...
mild amount of incest.
Right.
It's very...
I'm not saying
likely.
that it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the actual story of Adam and Eve, where God was like, 2 people, fuck each other, and then fuck
And
each
they're
other.
like, sick.
That was a choice that we made because we as a society now have said, don't fuck your sister or your brother or anybody in your
And
immediate
for the most
family.
part, the South's still catching up. But
Yeah. But back then we didn't. That was just another person. And then you felt love from that person. And then the next step from love is sexual attraction because that's the next plausible step when, when you don't think of family like that.
I think
then
sexual
we would do that.
attraction is first and then love.
I would say, that's pretty much how it goes. In my opinion, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like, for me personally, I think, like, to love someone is to have at least one besides, like, your mother and your family. Like,
That's the thing, though.
That deeper love.
We separated that.
Yeah.
And I agree that we separated. That's gross. It's gross because we were raised that it's gross and it is gross. And we feel like it's gross.
Like, she shoved Cheerios into your mouth when you were, like, 2 years old. Like, don't fuck her.
But biologically, when women breastfeed, there has to be some sort of sexual...
There has to be.
Some sort of body sexual reaction to make the nipples hard.
Fair
That's
enough.
what
But
I
that's
was
not like, ooh, I'm getting a boob massage by my man at like 10 o'clock
No.
at night on
Right.
Meridian.
No, it's not quite the
That's
same.
not quite the same. It's a bodily response to something totally natural, which, like, for some reason they're trying to ban fucking breastfeeding. Which
There's
is
a
like,
different
What
chemical
the
reaction and
fuck?
perception
yeah,
of
they're
the
like,
situation.
they're trying to, like, you can't breastfeed anywhere, like, it's indecent. It's like, yo, dude, like, that's just boobs. Like,
That is just...
So do you want to eat in a
We
gas
also-
station bathroom?
That's
No?
right.
Okay, then let the kid eat mom's boob milk.
Another point is that we sexualized. See, animals didn't sexualize.
Which is ironic because, like, we're honestly, like, super prude as a country, like in terms of the government and, and the
It's
media.
a puritanical Christian
Hella prude. Like, Germany, dude, they're like they're
Don't give a
insane.
shit, dude.
Germany's like
And
stuck in
France.
like the 1980s and
France
90s,
is a big
where
one
it's just-
because they think the body is an art form. And
And
it is.
Italy.
It
Which I agree.
absolutely is,
France,
yeah.
Italy, most of Europe has all of that opinion. That's why they look at us and they're like, do you really need that triple
And
double
Greece.
cheeseburger and those large ass fries and your fat ass SUVs?
But see,
no.
Back to the fear thing we were talking about earlier. The fact that we sexualized everything, we have to wear clothes, that's out of fear, specifically because when we sexualized breasts, for example, and women were going around just tits flopping out, they weren't even tits, they were just breasts on a woman, and you just look at them and you went, that's part of you, I don't give a shit. And then some guy was like, that is awesome. Why is that awesome? I don't know. Is that awesome? You know what it is. Like, and then we kind of
And all
spread
of a sudden,
that.
and then all of a sudden now you have like, hey, dude, if you show your breasts, you're gonna get raped.
Exactly, so we're scared
make
now,
laws
so
around
we,
it.
we put it down because if I show these, somebody's going to assault me. And probably, honestly, probably. That will
Well,
probably...
I think there's a theme across topics, though. Fear, obviously. Fear induces a lot of suppression, and then suppression causes people to either... They pick a side, and then they react. The polarization of the side. So, with boobs, or with drugs, or with guns, or... Suppression leads to... suppression. And then... outrage.
More suppression! Yeah.
Oppression.
Oppression.
So there's a lot of talk, and remember the topic was religion.
Yeah.
So the religion, if you believe in religion, especially Christianity, evolution didn't exist. But we just came up with so many reasons why evolution most probably.
And we're just three fucking like young adult dudes. Like,
we're not.
There are accomplished scientists with like bachelors and masters and doctorates
who are proving this
who are
shit.
proving this stuff with numbers and facts, and everyone's like, no, it's fake. Like, stop it. Stop denying science. Like, that's why upcoming soon, I'm not sure exactly when, you guys can go ahead and Google it, it's like, secondhand at this point, but there's a March for Science coming up where people literally have to go onto the streets and be like, hey, can you listen to facts, please?
It's amazing.
The fact that we have to do that, disgusting.
Well, the fact that has never happened before either is
Also kind of weird. I'm sure there's been, like, mild, like, hey, dude, like, the planet's warming, there's been those, but this is literally, like, a march for,
or, like marches
scientific
against
reason
nuclear
being
weapons.
the influential policymaker in this country, and we've kind of cycled back to politics, because all of these things kind of meld together.
They coincide.
Religion, politics.
That's
all
what
of
it's not supposed to be that way, though. Let's make that clear. Separation of church and state is supposed to be mandatory, but it's not.
It's not even a law, actually. It's just I'm pretty sure it's just a letter, but it should be.
Yeah.
It sure as fuck should be a law. Like Texas still teaching creationism. Stop that. Stop that right now. Like, there's no
That's
business.
flat out not true.
That's flat out not true. Like, you can go ahead and believe it. It's cool, man. Your religion is your deal. But it's not a fact. And you can't prove it as a fact. Like, gravity, pretty real, man. Like, there's a fact. That's a fact.
People are still bummed that they're still calling it gravitational theory. And everybody's like, theory is not proven.
See, in the scientific community, theory is used of more of like, hey, this is something
right.
we have to test. And, like, technically, like, there's no way to really prove. But at the same time, we know
A scientific theory
not
means
fucking floating.
A scientific theory means that this group has established that this may be true. This group has established that this may be true. This group has established that this may be true.
So it's
across
probably
the world,
fucking true.
Yeah.
not in one specific place. Like, these are global scientists from very different backgrounds, all coming
to the
together
same
saying,
conclusion.
yeah.
And then there's one or two that
The
are
data
like,
shows it,
flat
not
Earth.
their opinion. The data
Or the
shows
dude
it.
who tried to launch himself into space to prove that the Earth was flat, but then his like rocket malfunctioned or some shit.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Did that
you can
happen?
literally, yeah, it did happen. You can literally go. There's this building. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. You know, I apologize for my my mispronunciation in some Indian words, but the Burj Khalifa or whatever. It's like the tallest building on the planet. You can see the curvature of the Earth. Same thing on
Mount Everest.
Yeah, Mount Everest.
We
It's
talked
round.
about this in the last
Yeah, we
podcast,
actually looked at
yeah.
Mount Everest. You could see the horizon was going
Obviously
bad.
spherical.
Yeah.
But,
Plus, like, really, you're telling me the Earth is a disc?
well, here's the gravitational theory behind that. So, and I won't touch too much on it because, again, I don't want to repeat a lot. But flat Earth movement is that the Earth is flat. We all know that, right? But here's the theory about why that they think that this could actually be plausible. The gravitational theory is that gravity doesn't exist. No gravity. Here's what they think happens. We're moving up. Or this way, or however we're moving up, and so it's forcing us onto the ground. So that's their theory behind gravity. Gravity doesn't exist. We're just moving at a speed where we're not being crushed, but also it's holding us down to the ground. So that is fucking ridiculous.
And the ice wall.
And the huge right around the ring, the reason that we've never gotten to the edge is because the polar caps, we've never gone past them. We don't know what's behind them. We don't know what's under the Earth because we can't get to the edge.
Yeah.
Here's what happens if it was flat and gravity actually existed. It's still moving in a spherical like this because it's got to keep us up. It's got to keep its atmosphere in check. And regardless if the Earth is flat, the atmosphere is around us.
Yeah.
So if gravity exists on a flat Earth movement or the flat Earth theory, it would all want to go to the middle. So if you tried to go to the edge of the Earth, eventually you would be climbing a 90-degree angle because gravity's pushing you now this way the more you move from the center.
Yeah. So
So you're walking, and then all of a sudden you're climbing, but you're still on flat land. And that's how gravity would work. So gravity, proven, we have gravity, but then if the Earth was flat,
wouldn't work.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's many things about the whole religion issue. The funny thing is that in this country we're no longer religiously inclusive. Being Muslim is bad. People persecute the Jews still.
Being Muslim is bad unless you're on the left, and then there's some persecuted religion, even though they're one of the largest religions on the globe.
Yeah, I think they're like second
largest.
Yeah, which is right next to Christianity.
Yeah.
Which is basically Judaism.
But they're persecuted within this country, so they're a minority group that is
crazy
lifted up.
because those two religions are way different from each other.
But they're also incredibly similar because it's the same story. Same exact story. Fucking Muhammad went up.
The same God as well.
Same God. Was it Yahweh? Or no, Yahweh is the different word for actual God. It's Allah.
Yeah, Allah.
Allah straight up God.
Yahweh is a Jewish God, which is also the same God.
Which is the same God.
Yeah.
But everyone wants to be right and have different religions. But the thing is that like this country was born out of religious persecution. Literally in Europe, all these Orthodox Christians were like, "Hey, can we do our thing?" And they're like, "Go fuck yourself." And they're like, "Peace." And they sailed all the way across the fucking Atlantic Ocean and got here and was like, "Sick. We can no longer be persecuted, but fuck the Indians." So we literally like established colonies to leave religious persecution, and now the United States is the king of religious persecution, saying that we can't have Muslims and we can't have any of those other ethnic religious groups because we're white America and we want it to be
because
pure
they're
and,
quote unquote dangerous.
Yeah, they're dangerous because we're victimizing them, which is a whole separate issue of terrorism and why it's bullshit. Because as soon as you label something a terrorist, all of a sudden now you have the fiery hands of the government coming down and bombing the fuck out of everything. Like that's why they don't want to call.
We can thank George Bush for that.
Thank you, George Bush. Although I wish I had him back. I kind of like George Bush now. He's kind of funny. But would I want him as president? No. But I'd take him over Trump at this point. Like 9/11. Like, but
I don't know.
He was just dumb. Trump's
we invaded Iraq because...
But that wasn't just Bush. That was Cheney. That was all of his other advisors.
Oh, definitely.
Like, Bush was just like a pawn in that game.
I don't know if he was a pawn. I think he made a lot of decisions.
Fair enough.
We are almost out of time. Our podcasts usually run about an hour. We got a couple more minutes.
Okay. How many more minutes we got here?
Let's say about 5.
Cool beans.
So we're going to give this time to give a shout out to our band, Elena Avenue. We're coming out with a new album or a new EP pretty soon. So be looking for that. And we're going to start playing shows again. And that'll be really cool. I actually remember Justin here. We were playing shows. We were playing local shows at 51 West. He came to one of our shows and pretty much fangirled. And he wanted to have sex with all of us. And
you came to the show at Club Red too, and you were wearing the Lane Avenue shirt.
Yeah, I believe I was like your number one fan.
Yeah, you came to a lot of shows.
I think I came to like 2 or 3 of your guys' shows. Of course, I just supported you guys' music. Yeah. It wasn't really my bag. I didn't really like it that much. But I was there for you guys because I'm down to support local people. I really appreciate when people go out and try to do something.
Definitely appreciate that.
I still have your shirt. I know a lot of people that tossed them, or I saw one at Goodwill. That made me depressed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is weirdly kind of cool at the same time. That means like someone picked it up and was like, hey man, this squid's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
now there's some random human being with a Lynn Avenue shirt.
That's what we want.
But I remember just trying to design your guys' first band label thing that I still have on my computer, I think.
You really?
Yeah, it was a skull with a cigarette and a top hat.
Oh yeah.
I designed that. You guys let me design that, which is hilarious because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Yeah. I used paint.
That's amazing.
I used MS Paint, which was
vintage.
Yeah. Well, since you guys plugged in your band there, I will go ahead and plug my Hot Fire Mixtapes page on Facebook. It's a satirical page dedicated to making wacky mixtape covers, and there's actually an album on there that my buddies released called Dare. So yeah, just go ahead and go on Facebook and Hot Fire Mixtapes and enjoy the memes.
All right, we're out of time. Thank you guys for watching, listening, whatever you're doing.
This concludes the Your Thoughts podcast.
Yes, tune in next week, and we will have more for you. Take it easy, guys.
Cool. That was pretty sick.
So the first one, if we decide to release it, will come out next Sunday. Monday? What do we decide?
We'll have to figure it out because I don't know if I have to edit anything.
Right.
Maybe his burps?
No, gotta keep those in.